Greetings, everybody, wherever you may be, and welcome again to Kourou, the home of the Ariane family, for today's live broadcast of Arianespace's 7th flight of Vega. To get us underway, we go right to Arianespace Chairman and CEO Stefan Israel for some opening words.
All the operation linked to the final countdown went smoothly. The launcher and the satellites are ready. The weather is green, so we should be in a position to launch in a few minutes at 10:43 p.m.
Joshua Jampel here. A mission for the Americas tonight, both north and south. Some firsts, a new customer, Terabella, and we're launching the first Earth observation satellite for Peru. Some numbers: the 5 satellites are the 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, and 21st to be launched by Vega. We're launching the 541st satellite for Arianespace on this, our 279th mission. It's an Earth observation charter. Total mission time, 1 hour and 43 minutes, including a break in the broadcast of 50 minutes at 45 minutes after liftoff. As Vega waits patiently on the pad, we are inside the Jupiter Mission Control Building, coming to you, as always, live here at the heart of the Guiana space base. Jupiter's the center of all the action, and plenty of it coming up, so don't go away. Inside Jupiter, we're here with our invited guests, the VIPs, and our customers. Vega is used for small satellites. By small, we mean smaller than those carried by Ariane or Soyuz, the other members of the Ariane family. Vega is used for satellites in the 1 to 2 ton class, sometimes even smaller, like tonight. She stands 30 meters tall, 4 stages, solid and liquid propellant systems on the vehicle. The first 3 stages run on solid fuel, the 4th on a liquid propellant system. The 4th stage is also reignitable, which is important, and we'll see that in action. Our passengers weighing in tonight at roughly the same mass, 430 kilos for PeruSAT, the lower passenger, and 110 kilos each for the 4 SkySats. And we can say passengers in the plural because, unlike most smaller vehicles, Vega can launch multiple payloads. Going back in Jupiter, we're going to set the scene for you by introducing some of the key players who make the mission happen. Beginning here, this is the Arianespace High Command, the Flight Directorate. Roland Lagier, you saw, Chief Technical Officer. With him, Bruno Girard, head of Arianespace Kourou facilities. And Stefan Israel will be making his way back from his opening speech. He'll be heading up the team. Should anything unexpected arise, these men will be on the phone. What else do you need to know for the launch tonight? Well, there is no launch window. Perhaps you noticed that. This is because we're going to deposit the passengers directly on their orbital slots. The SkySats are going to join an already existing constellation. Some of the Soyuz flights also operate without a launch window here from the space base. Up next, a film on the launcher campaign. You can see how Vega was put together for her mission tonight.
The PeruSAT-1 launch campaign was split in 2 phases. First phases carry out for the launch vehicle integration, which was finished at the beginning of July. After the standby phase, the activities of the launcher have restarted. Battery and of the avionic equipment multifunction unit.
PeruSAT-1 landed at Felix Eboué Airport on the 5th of August. It was transferred directly to the S3B building. After the flight meeting and the adapter, PeruSAT-1 was assembled inside the Vespa, the dual launch structure similar to the Silda for Ariane 5. On SkySat side, the 4 satellites were integrated one by one on a specific structure called SAS. Then they were transferred to the S3B building using the CCU-3 and assembled on the top of the Vespa.
The specificity of the PeruSAT-1 launch campaign was the operation associated to the stack assembly of the upper part of the launcher with the first use of the Vespa Plus structure, PeruSAT-1 inside, and the matching of the second payload's fourth SkySat on the Vespa Plus top with the specific specification systems with the small electrical motors activated in flight by thermal battery. The loading of the fourth stage Avum with the Sorab fluid propellants and TO, Demash and hydrazine was performed.
The day after, the Vespa and the 4th SkySat were encapsulated by the fairing.
We're going to move inside Jupiter again, continuing our presentation of the Dramatis Persona. You're going to see two men who work side by side. Cyril Ponroy, you just saw him in the film, the mission director from Arianespace. And at his side, the DDO, Raymond Boyas from the CNES. It's his voice you hear calling out the milestones in the countdown and during the flight. And he's going to call out the 4-minute mark.
Top I0 moins 4 minutes.
4 minutes marks the final moments of the final countdown. 4 minutes to go until liftoff of Arianespace's 7th flight of the year and the 7th Vega mission. The green status panels, we have a chance we can describe them. They're on the right of the screen. The space base covers a lot of ground, 750 square kilometers, and a lot goes on here. And all of those activities can be summed up by the status panels. They are a go, no-go, green, red resume of everything it takes to prepare, launch, and follow Vega, or Ariane and Soyuz as well. Green means okay, red means the opposite. It's very simple. We get a red in any of these areas, any of those bars, we stop the countdown. We check these panels during the first part of the mission before lifting off. They have to be green to give a go, and you can see that is the case with 3 minutes to go. Some 1,700 people work around the space base. It's a busy place. We don't have cameras everywhere, but one place we do have a camera is up here. This is the Vega Launch Management Center. And the team's there led by André Sicard, the launch operations manager. You just saw him, and you saw him in the video before. The Vega Launch Control Center is in the same building as the Ariane 5 Control Center. Overall mission control is provided from here in the Jupiter building for all flights. The Launch Control Center is about 14 kilometers away from us here in Jupiter, and the men and women you see are only 3 kilometers to the pad. They're much closer, but they are protected inside a blockhouse with walls 1 meter thick. Right now, these teams are monitoring all the operations leading right down to liftoff. Once Vega leaves the pad, their job is done. There are hundreds and hundreds of parameters for them to check. Basically, what's happening is power is passing from the ground, which controls everything now, to the onboard computers, which will control everything after liftoff. To our
À tous les DDO, attention pour moins 1 minute.
DDO will call out the 1 minute mark. To our friends in Terabella, in Mountain View, California, on hand for the launch.
Top I0 moins 1 minute.
Tuning in from Charlie's Cafe in Google headquarters. Good evening to you. At PeruSAT in Pucusana, at the Centro Nacional de Operaciones de Imágenes Satelitales del Perú. Hope I said that right. And greetings also to the ESA centers worldwide, the Arianespace offices, CNES offices, all our industrial partners, and everybody watching on the internet. We're just half a minute away from liftoff. We're going to cut away, let you listen to the DDO as he calls out the final 10 seconds, and we will be back once Vega has cleared the tower. The mission about to begin. Enjoy the liftoff, everybody.
Attention pour le décompte final.
Final countdown.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, top. Allumage P80, décollage. Propulsion nominale. Pilotage calme, trajectoire nominale.
As the DDO says everything is normal on board, you saw Vega rise like an arrow surprisingly fast if you're used to
Acquisition
watching
par la station de Saint-Jean.
Ariane
Paramètres à
5
bord normaux.
liftoff. DDO continues to say all is working perfectly. Those of you familiar with the Ariane flights know that the heavier launcher rises much more slowly, weighs 6 times what Vega does, carries 4 times as much propellant. Vega lifting off perfectly.
Tous les paramètres à bord sont normaux.
French Guiana beginning her 7th mission, weighing at liftoff 138 tons. The first stage is burning now. It weighs 97 tons. 88 tons of that
Trajectoire nominale.
are fuel. Most of any launcher's weight is propellant. The first stage burns its single engine for about 2 minutes before being jettisoned. The first stage is produced in Colifero near Rome, then delivered to the French Guiana plant here where it's loaded with fuel, then transferred to the booster integration building. You saw some of that in the video on the launcher campaign earlier. And what are the satellites doing right now, you are asking? Well, that's a good question. They are sitting quietly on top of the launcher, enjoying the ride, getting ready to go to work. They were disconnected from external power about 30 minutes before liftoff and are now running on their own batteries. There, looks like
Préparation
extinction
du premier étage
of
P80.
the lower stage. Lower stage is also called P.
Allumage deuxième étage Z23.
And we've had confirmation of separation of the first stage and ignition of the second stage. All is going right according to plan. We're in the second stage burn. The second stage, called the Z23, Z for Zefiro, burns its solid rocket motor for 86 seconds. Again, if you're keeping score on the mass and fuel numbers,
Propulsion nominale.
its weight 25 tons, its fuel 23 tons. Vega is launching north tonight towards a polar orbit. In this orbit, satellites are often used for global mapping and Earth observation. It's a sun-synchronous, heliosynchronous orbit. The satellite passes over the same part of the Earth at roughly the same time each day, but on a different plane, eventually covering the entire
Tous les
surface
paramètres à bord sont normaux.
of the planet. They call it a ball of yarn type of orbit, if you can imagine that picture. This orbit is used for satellites that, of course, need constant sunlight to take quality pictures of the planet. And most Earth observation satellites are on similar orbits,
Propulsion
much
nominale, trajectoire nominale.
lower than the geostationary orbit used by telecommunication satellites, the kind launched by Ariane. For those kind of orbits, we launch to the east across the Atlantic. Tonight, we're going north. On the bottom left of the screen, our altitude, coming up on 120 kilometers, leaving the atmosphere. On the right, our speed, approaching 4 kilometers per second. We're awaiting confirmation of the second stage.
Séparation du deuxième étage Z23.
And there it was, right on time. Second stage separating and ignition of the third stage. Vega, V-E-G-A, means in Italian Vettore Europeo di Generazione Avanzata, or Advanced Generation European Vehicle. Fairing separation coming up next.
Allumage. Largage coiffe. Allumage du troisième étage
And there we are. You
Z9.
see, the fairing is blown away by a very controlled explosion. You saw the two halves leaving exposed to the elements the 4 sky
Visibilité
sets,
Galio.
which are the blue boxes just on the right of your screen. We can separate the fairing now because we're out of the atmosphere. The passengers now are getting their first taste of space. We are coming up on acquisition of Vega's signal by our first tracking stations on the ground. They are located here in French Guiana. The first is at Galio, that's just behind Jupiter here. The second is at Saint-Jean-de-Maroni. It is a mobile station used for Vega missions as an extension of the Galio facility.
Séparation Z9.
And the DDO has called out separation of the third stage. We're coming up, as we say, in a minute on the first ignition of the fourth stage. The fourth stage is called the
Fin d'acquisition de
AVUM,
la mesure Galio.
AVUM, which means Attitude and Vernier Upper Module of Vernier, being a synonym for precision and referring to the precision required by the upper stage. This because the AVM is designed to deliver different payloads into different orbits and to perform very, very fine satellite pointing before separating the satellites. That's what liquid propulsion can do. Solid propulsion basically used for power as the first ignition of the AVM comes on. Liquid propulsion more for precision operations. We're going to go in just a short moment to a replay of the liftoff. And you can see again those exciting shots of Vega beginning her mission. Shots were taken 16 minutes ago. On the bottom of the screen are the 4 SkySats, the blue boxes. Beneath that, the black cylinder is the Vespa. That's the carrying structure, which lets us carry a second passenger. And inside the Vespa is PeruSat, our other passenger. And on top of that is a vehicle equipment bay. That's the gray band on top of that, inside of which are all the computers. The pad, as we were saying, was modified for Vega and for the new 50-meter tall mobile gantry, which weighs 1,000 tons. And 4 60-meter high towers were added to protect the pad from lightning, and you saw those in the film. Looking first at PeruSat, Peru's first Earth observation satellite capable of very high resolution imaging. It will be the most powerful Earth observation satellite operating in Latin America. Ordered by the Peruvian government 2 years ago through an agreement with the French government. It was built at the Airbus Defense and Space Facilities in Toulouse, here in France. The launch is carried out under a turnkey contract with Airbus for the Peruvian Space Agency, CONIDA, officially known as La Comisión Nacional de Investigación y Desarrollo Aeroespacial. I hope I said that right. PeruSat uses the Astrobus S platform, and on board is Naomi. Naomi is an instrument standing for the new AstroSat optical modular instrument. The satellite was built in less than 24 months, which is very, very good time. We'll be coming back to that when we have a moment to discuss it. The launch contract was signed with Arianespace in March of last year. And the GDO has confirmed that we've been picked up by our downrange tracking station in Quebec. Again, the Saint-Hubert station.
Donc nous aurons une fin de visibilité attendue du lanceur pendant 15 minutes à peu près. Les prochaines acquisitions par la station des Juju en Corée.
Continuing our look at our lower passenger, PeruSat. PeruSat is carried on the Vespa. That's the Vega dispenser system, standing for Vega Secondary Payload Adapter. Again, that's the black cylinder in the middle of the screen. It will deploy 2 solar arrays and go into a sun-synchronous orbit at 675 kilometers altitude and then operate at 695 kilometers to take pictures of the globe with its silicon-carbon optical instrument at 70 centimeters resolution, under 1 meter. It will also provide 2-meter resolution images in 4 other wavelength bands. PeruSat will support Peruvian government activities in emergency management, territorial planning, also oceanography, fisheries, forestry, climate concerns, and agriculture. PeruSat is the 115th Airbus Defense and Space satellite to be launched by Arianespace, and the 101st Airbus-built main passenger to be launched by Arianespace. We're going to go back in Jupiter and look at the team from PeruSat while we're waiting for separation of our passengers. There they are, the team from PeruSat. Among them, Jean Dauphin. I don't know if we're going to get a shot of him. Maybe not. Program Director, Earth Observation for Airbus Defense and Space. And we spoke with him this morning. He told us that as part of the PeruSAT program. He mentioned the training program that was mentioned in the film. As part of the PeruSAT program, Airbus has trained 100 Peruvian engineers in space technologies over the last 2 years since the contract has been signed. 40 trained in system operations, that's satellite monitoring and maneuvers. 60 in other operations and system use, like applications in cartography, defense, agriculture, things like that. What's left of the composite is the Vespa. Inside the Vespa is PeruSAT and the vehicle equipment bay. All of Vega's trajectory has been designed to be followed from the ground. As we mentioned, the launcher is sending radar and telemetry back, and all these stations we've been talking about is keeping constant watch on the health of all her systems, sending back telemetry, which is launch vehicle data, information on thousands of parameters being collected and transmitted to the ground stations every second, indicating the health and performance in flight.
Début de la manœuvre d'orientation profit des 4 SkySat.
There will be a second or two's interval between each one. A moment of high concentration here in Jupiter and elsewhere around the world for the SkySat people as we await separation. Everyone very focused. They've gone through satellite separations before, but it's always a time of being quite concentrated.
Séparation des 4 SkySat.
And right on time and right on schedule, confirmation of separation of our first 4 passengers, the SkySats. You notice the people here in Jupiter very politely holding their applause because the mission is not over. Although the men from Terabella, very happy. We have yet to release PeruSAT, remember? This will come later at plus 1 hour 42 minutes. So hang on. Congratulations to the Terabella people, whose work begins now on the ground. We'll be having news from the satellite shortly as she begins her early orbit phase maneuvers. A final note, I don't know if you know, but each of the 4 of the SkySats, each of the 4 has been given a name from Star Wars. One of them is called R2-D2. There is also Luke, C-3PO, and of course, Leia. Waiting for Vespa separation, and then we will see PeruSAT exposed to the elements, and then after that we will say a momentary goodbye to you. At plus 45 minutes, right after the Vespa separation, we will cut away and let you take a break, and we'll be back for the end of the mission. Arianespace with her 7th launch of the year, and Vega's 7th launch in her career. I started to mention the Union of Concerned Scientists, didn't I? It's a group from MIT. They say that Earth observation satellites account for 1/4.
Vespa.
And there's the Vespa separation, and you can see PeruSAT now exposed to the elements, awaiting her separation due in about an hour from now. And until then, we'll cut away for under an hour, 51 minutes to be exact, while Vega orbits the Earth in what they call a ballistics phase. The pictures will continue to tell the story in real time, so you're welcome to watch, and our commentary will resume at plus 1 hour and 36 minutes. So until then, enjoy the break. We'll see you back here, same place, in 51 minutes for PeruSAT separation and the end of the Vega mission. Don't miss it. Vega now, with this final burn, is readying the composite for separation of the final passenger, PeruSAT, with a minute to go. Today's mission, of course, has significant, and there's the extinction of the burn. Today's mission has significant repercussions on the future of Earth mapping, as well as for the nation of Peru and for Terabella. And Arianespace is proud and happy to play a part.
Début d'orientation profit du satellite PeruSAT-1.
Coming up on separation of our remaining passenger, again a moment of high concentration here in Jupiter, and I imagine at all the PeruSAT and CONIDA outposts, and at Airbus Defence and Space, as all of us await separation of Peru's first Earth observation satellite. Less than 10 seconds. A big milestone, a big moment.
La télémédior par la station de Saint-Hubert.
A big moment for that country.
Séparation satellite PeruSAT-1.
And there you have it. Yeah. The applause erupted here in Jupiter. I haven't seen that in quite a while. The final good news, rounding out the evening, Vega has successfully separated her last passenger, PeruSAT-1. You see the flag. You'll see the cigars and the champagne, no doubt, as they'll be forthcoming here in Jupiter. For the moment here, all smiles and handshakes as the various teams enjoy the fact that their satellite has made its way away from the mothership and is beginning her life and will soon be getting down to work. For full confirmation of separation, to see if the satellite separation has occurred properly, that PeruSAT has been sent on its proper orbit, that its solar arrays are being properly deployed, and that its overall health is good. These are a few important items to check before we can let PeruSAT officially start its life and work, and of course Arianespace taking no chances and being very, very, very thorough. So for all this information to come in could take a few minutes, but complete success of the mission will be accomplished and confirmed at that time. Meanwhile, while we're waiting, looking ahead, tomorrow there will be a first post-flight analysis of the mission. That'll be in the afternoon at the CVI, the Real-Time Visibility Center we saw earlier. A technical synthesis review will then take place at 5 in the afternoon, and a final post-flight review at 6. That's all here at the space base. Back in Évry, at the Arianespace headquarters outside Paris, there will be a post-flight analysis meeting on September 27th, 28th, and 29th, and another with a steering board on the 18th of October. Vega's mission may be over, but our broadcast is not. We're waiting for the traditional post-launch speeches along with full confirmation. And that is still to come. I see Stefan Israel heading to the podium. His will be the next video.
Mesdames et messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, dear customers, Arianespace is delighted to announce that, according to our internal launch vehicle information, the satellites have been separated as planned on their targeted sun-synchronous orbit.
Buenas noches a todos los presentes.
Good evening to everyone.
Esta mañana tuve la oportunidad de señalar
This morning,
que nosotros los peruanos teníamos
I had the opportunity of sharing with you that for the Peruvian people, some dreams become reality someday, and this is one of those moments. This dream has now become reality. We've now entered into space. This is not only about injecting a satellite into orbit, but this is about operating, making use of this satellite to guarantee the development and the safety of our country.
You'll get to watch a last launch replay, and we will bid you goodbye. Our next flight, as Stefan Israel mentioned on October 4th, will be here, and we hope you will be too. From Kourou, the big news, Arianespace is once again delivered on our 7th flight of the year with the 7th Vega mission, 4 SkySats, and PeruSAT beginning life tonight. Congratulations to everyone involved. Our next flight, as Stefan Israel mentioned, October 4th, will be here, and we hope you will be too. Till then, on behalf of everybody here at the Space Base, Joshua Jampel saying thank you for being with us. We hope you enjoyed it, and we look forward to being with you next time. Goodbye, everybody.